Welcome into the overtime segment here at SportsSource.tv. We do this every week. We ask you for your Twitter questions. We run through as many as we can in the television show, and then we cover as many as we can right here online for you. Joined by VFLs. We're talking about complaints. I get complaints every time I say former Vol. I get email complaints every time I say former Vol. You're being disrespectful. They're VFLs. I would like to go back in time and that was something Dooley started.
Yeah, does everybody know Dooley started that?
Yeah, see, I hate that because I'm just tired of saying it.
The thing about it is anybody can be a VFL, but we're all Letterman.
Letterman, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Used to be called all Vol.
Well, what am I supposed? Why don't I just say former Vols or ex-Vols or VFLs?
But
you get emails about it.
It's all love.
It's all
The first person to say that was Reggie White. Reggie White, first person to say VFL.
Really?
Truly true story.
But then Derek Dooley marketed it.
Because Derek Dooley was being the Scorpion.
He's being the Scorpion.
All right. Hope you saw today's show. If not, go back and watch it in the boxes up above this box. All right. Jacob Gillum, Daniel Hood, Sterling Hinton, Bobby Scott, all VFLs. Here's your first question. Where is Dylan Bates?
That is a hard question. I mean, I don't know if he's not hurt, is he?
He was hurt last year. They've tried to move his position. They've changed position. They tried to move him to middle linebacker. They put on weight. Then they moved him back to outside linebacker. He's been in on special teams, but he's just not getting on the field. And I think people are worried too much about it. I mean, not all the guys you sign are going to make the field and be huge contributors as freshmen or sophomores.
Worst case scenario, you pull the Will Overstreet, put another 30 pounds on him, put him at defensive end. See what he's got.
Yeah. There you go.
I mean, everybody worries about those legacy guys. You know, when TK's not in there, everybody's worrying about him. So it's just an added thing that comes with having that last name of a former Vol who was great here and great in the NFL. And I think people pay more attention to that than, put a lot of pressure on a kid who, doesn't really deserve that.
Yeah, I mean, if his name was Dylan Smith, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. No. Another five-star guy that's not on the field is Drew Richmond. And you hear more people talk about Dylan Bates in his second year, redshirt freshman, than you do Richmond.
And Blair, too.
That's right, Dontavius Blair, yeah.
This is third year. Yeah.
And too, that doesn't mean that he's never going to make it to the field.
That's right,
I mean,
yeah.
It might just take him a little bit longer, but he'll be here a couple of more years.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I will say about Dylan Bates is his contribution on special team has been substantial.
Yeah.
He's doing well on special teams, so he is contributing to the team.
All right.
When he's in, he's doing well.
Absolutely.
This is an ongoing question, but it's coming from a different direction today. Can we finally put the Dooley-Jones comparisons to bed? Every week we get can we still compare these guys? Now we got somebody saying, can we please put it to bed? I'm all for putting it to bed. We've said it's a silly comparison for months, so from now on, when that gets tweeted to us, done.
I don't think I've ever done that. Never compared them.
No, we get people that ask, and what they do is they compare the records because after 24 games, they were about the same. Nobody paying attention to the fact that Dooley's program was this, and Jones' program is this, going straight up. So
Need some high school algebra, huh?
yeah, they
They do.
That's right. Why put Dormady in and only let him hand off?
Because you were running the ball well. And you're trying to run out the clock to win the game.
Yeah, it's the end of the game. You're running out the clock. Why would you go throw an incomplete pass, stop the clock, extend the game?
I can speak from that for being on both sides of that coin, for being a starter and also a backup. You want to win the game, period. You want to get out of the game healthy. So, unfortunately, throwing the ball puts more people's health at risk and also can potentially stop the clock. You want to continue to move the clock, continue to move the stakes, and get out of that game with a victory.
I agree with you, man. I'm going to play devil's advocate, okay?
Okay.
Steve Spurrier used to get his guys in there and throw because they are on. His argument was, and I know Bobby loves anything from Steve Spurrier. His argument was these guys are on scholarship too. Let them get out there and run the real offense and have some fun. Also, another devil's advocate question, and again, I agree with you. I was all right with him handing off. But another angle is, if you're going to have this guy just one play away from having to be your starter, shouldn't he be throwing the ball to get some reps doing so? So there's your devil's advocate. Any response to those? You still disagree with both those?
He's throwing in practice. I mean, every day. So I mean, I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, you put him in there, you let him run the clock out. That's what you're trying to do, and be done with it.
I think I play your devil's advocate and say, instead of letting him throw the ball, because you know he can throw the ball, we need to get Kelly some reps to see if he can run the ball in case Hurd or Kamara go down, and you need that third guy.
Boom.
I'm good with that. That's good.
And
Well, you got see. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I agree with you.
What I love about the whole devil advocate thing is that we're playing it after a victory. Whoa, I love it. Play it all you want to play. Win, win, win.
Yeah,
Baby.
right.
Just
What do you
win.
got?
I'm just gonna say, as an offensive lineman, I don't really want to pass block in the fourth quarter if we're up by 30. Let's just run the ball and get out of there.
There you go. There you
Boom.
go. All right, that's interesting. All right, what record should Vol fans demand of Butch Jones next year if he's to keep his job?
No comment.
How many? All right, let's turn that around. How many
Improvement.
wins? How many wins are you looking at to satisfy people next year?
To satisfy people would be 12 or 13.
Well,
Exactly.
yeah, to satisfy. I think the vast majority of people who don't call into talk shows and don't get ugly on Twitter. I think the vast majority of the people out there are behind Butch Jones and have always been behind Butch Jones. They're just not the loudest group.
Yeah.
But that majority, what do you think it's take to satisfy them? 9 wins?
think
9
yeah.
win season does?
Next-
Should.
I think you have to
Next
compete
year's
in the East.
schedule should get you 9 or 10 wins anyway.
You got a 4-game stretch of Florida,
Show
Georgia,
improvement.
A&M, and Alabama, and that's tough. The rest of it, if Virginia Tech turns out to be what they look like they're being this year, which is iffy, all right, that game doesn't look as tough as it once did. But I mean, this team this year, I think people should be satisfied. You should win all of them. But if this team goes 7-5 with all the injuries they've got on that offensive line,
impressive.
that's still a step forward from last year.
Yep.
But if you go 8-4 this year, win 9 games the next year, get in that East race, really be in that East race, But I think 9 or 10 next year is probably your target.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say in just wins. I'd say what Daniel said is you got to compete in the East. As soon as we compete for the East championship, that's what's going to satisfy everybody.
I'm going to say, period, beat Florida. Beat Florida, shuts a lot of people
There we go.
up. Shuts a
Florida.
lot of people up.
It's true.
Where is Marquez North? He stays banged up.
Hurt.
Yeah,
he's
he's
hurt.
Training
hurt.
room. He's in the training room. He'll be there in about 30 minutes, I bet.
Yeah. And
No,
he'll be there
schedule.
till he'll be there until 2:33. Yeah.
Oh, at least.
Then
Well,
go
I'll
watch
probably
some film.
post this after that, so he's already been there and left.
Oh,
but,
okay. Well, he's been there and left.
but he's in the training room. All right.
Yeah.
South Carolina, any threat now that they've changed their offense with Steve Spurrier? I asked this during the show, really. Nobody's freaking out over South Carolina having a
What I will
change of
say,
scheme.
I made it my business to watch the A&M game yesterday, and those guys look sound on offense. I mean, they can put some points on the board. I believe once that offense coordinator gets some guys that can produce on offense as far as athletes, they're going to be dangerous again on offense. But I think we win because we're getting that much better. We've got a good football team, and they're playing good football right now. So I think, we're just that much better than them, and we should win big Saturday.
Thing you got to do is do it week in and week out, though.
Oh, yeah. And we got new weeks, baby. Let's go. Don't remember what you're doing in November. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
I got to say, I'm nervous about it just for the simple fact you look at, USC, when Orgeron took it over, you look at Miami, who turned around and beat Duke yesterday. I think it's going to be a really tight game, and if Tennessee comes in, big-headed, which I don't think they will, then it's going to be one of those that you could lose like you did last year to Missouri, 29-21.
Well, I say it every week, and people think it's a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. And that is every week is its own season.
Absolutely.
If you had looked at Tennessee and Alabama on paper, the line of scrimmage battle, Tennessee banged up offensive line, banged up defensive line, there was no reason on paper to say, oh yeah, they'll go down there and give Alabama fits. There's no reason in the world on paper. These games aren't played on paper. And now Tennessee's in the Alabama role. You look at these other teams like, well, on paper they don't stack up against this Tennessee roster. Games aren't played on paper. So, all right, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's one of those games where it's not a trap game in the sense of the word, but it's one of those games where, and I know Butch will do this, but he'll get the team ready, and he's not going to let them overlook South Carolina.
Absolutely.
And one thing you got to give this coaching staff credit, his teams never quit. They don't quit on seasons. They don't quit in games. So I don't think it would surprise me if they did come out and get trapped. If they did come out with the big head a little flat, that would surprise me.
He won't let them do it.
And John P., can I say something while we're on the subject of coaching staffs?
Sure.
Please, thank you. Yesterday we started the game out, they made a big play. They fumbled, they get 6. The resiliency from our players and our coaching staff, they were just getting it all season. I mean, the way we won that chess game yesterday, from the players' perspective, from executing the plays that were called, from the defensive twists and things that were happening, I want to give a hats off to our Tennessee football coaching staff, from the head coach to the last trainer and manager, because you guys stepped up yesterday and it showed on the field. That's what I think.
I think, Jimmy talked about it in the show, and I think he was right that, and the thing you just mentioned, when they picked up that fumble and ran it all the way back, I'm thinking it's Halloween night, Kentucky's into it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one tonight, and it was not. So you got to give them credit. Every time that Kentucky made it look like it was going to be a game, Tennessee just slammed the door right back on them. So it was an impressive.
I'd say good job
mentality.
to, again, having our first 100-yard receiver of the season. I'd like to see more of it, but for being wide receiver, you'd think we'd have a few more, but let's get a few more.
You
But
know
it's
my
nice
feelings.
to see one.
You know my feelings on calling him wide receiver you at this point. Got to earn it. All right, defense next week without Emmanuel Mosley, and there's very little chance of anything being overturned from the SEC. I can't recall any of those being overturned in the past. He had lost his starting spot to Justin Martin, still playing quite a bit though. So you take him out of the mix. Malik Foreman probably steps. Where are you looking? How much are you worried about the defense first half next week against South Carolina with Mosley out?
Nothing more with him in there, with him out of there. As long as we got Cam, as long as we got our safety play being real solid, that cornerback position has been flipped between Malik and the other guy,
Martin.
So they've got experience. We can hide that. We can disguise coverages. I'm more concerned about that D-line putting pressure on that quarterback, make him make the wrong decisions to make sure that doesn't even play a factor who plays that cornerback position.
See, and I think that's part. I think the secondary has taken way too much of a beating this year.
Absolutely.
And the reason is, Daniel, you know this, if the defensive line isn't getting to the quarterback and the defensive back has to cover for an extra second or two, that's night and day. That is a night and day difference in the outcome of a play. Yeah. So everybody's focusing on every completed pass, well, the corners suck. There's a little more that goes into it than that.
It is. And the only thing that I would say to that is we have had cornerbacks in position to make plays, and they just hadn't turned and found the ball and got a hand up and got a hand on it. And that's the only thing I would fuss about.
Especially against Alabama. They had some jump balls where Alabama's guys went up and got them.
Yep.
And the coaching staff obviously has a lot of trust in them because every time you look at them, they're in a one-on-one matchup, and most of the time without safety help. And so we got talented guys; they'll make plays. Defense line just has to do their job to get after the quarterback.
Bobby Scott, Sterling. Oh, you got something? Throw it.
No, I'm good.
Okay. Bobby Scott, no, you're fine. Hold it to next week. Bobby Scott, Sterling Hinton, Daniel Hood, Jacob Gillum. Thanks for all of these guys. Thanks you for watching. And we'll see you next Sunday at 11 a.m. on WATE 6 for the Sports Source.